Welcome to my new series here called Stay or Go, where we will be categorizing players in 4 different categories. Crucial players, keep the player, loan the player, or sell them. Basically, crucial means like this player will stay at Man United for a very long time, for example. Keep means, could be a controversial take, but I would still give this lad some time to prove himself. I believe that he could be a fundamental part to the club. Loan is a young player that deserves more playing time but won't find it at Man United, and sell is get rid of this lad ASAP. So, what is this series all about? Well, I'm going to be getting clubs like Man United, and you guys list some suggestions down in the comments below, but there's also squads that don't have to be in the Premier League that I would want to do, like, Juventus is a good one. You can do Bayern Munich as well, but I do want to get to teams like Chelsea, Arsenal, even Man City, Newcastle, clubs like that. But Man United was the first one that I thought this is the one I want to start this series off, and it's going to be episode 1. And what better way to do it right now where, I'm recording this right after the Europa League final, so Leverkusen finally lost the game, right before the FA Cup final, which will be occurring soon. And, Ten Hag, at the moment, it looks like he could be getting sacked soon. But Man United is due for a huge, rebuild here, and we're just gonna get through these players that are gonna be at Man United this summer that could be leaving. Let's start off with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm gonna say keep. I believe that at the right back position you have two lads in Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Diego Dalot, and I don't believe at this moment Man United should be looking to move either of those two guys. Those are great options. Dalot has proven he could play both sides and was fundamental part of Man United, having any type of success. So I'm going to put Diego Dalot here at crucial. I do believe he will be the first choice, and I do believe Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a great second choice, and it's great for tactical reasons. One is more attacking and can play both sides. The other one can only play the right side, but he's one of the best one-on-one defenders, and he's a great defensive-minded guy. So as a manager, you would always love to have an attacking fullback and a more defensive one on the right side. Now, Alejandro Garnacho is a crucial player. He's a fundamental young player. Nothing to be said more about Garnacho, saying that he's a bright, promising player for Man United that can be here for 5-10 years. The backup goalkeeper here, I'm going to say keep. He didn't do anything wrong. He's not a bad backup. I don't believe at goalkeeping position they should be making any movement. So that just shows for Onana. I'm not going to put him on crucial, but I will say keep. And I'm going to say keep because it was a lot of money that they invested for Onana. So he at one point he was considered the best goalkeeper of the season due to him taking Inter Milan all the way to the Champions League final and even having a great performance against Man City, only conceding 1 goal, which is Rodri, bending one in. But Onana, I believe you keep. See what you can do long term. But if he has another season like this, you're going to have to look to move him. But at the moment, I don't think Man United should be too worried about goalkeeping, even though he was a bit of a disaster this season. But he could always improve. Right here, we have Alejandro Fernandez, promising left back that's been doing very well in Portugal. I'm going to say keep and see what he does next season. This year you had your options in Luke Shaw and Malacia just injured all season, no availability, while this guy has been one of the most young, promising lads. And if he wasn't a part of Man United, he would be linked to Man United. So it's funny how that works. So all you have to do is not loan him out this season. Keep him. Make him an option. Diallo, I'm going to say keep as well. This lad is a young player. Had his moments here and there against Liverpool. I'm going to say definitely not a crucial player either, but he could be a nice little backup. Whenever his name has been called upon, he has served well, and I believe he's one of the more underrated players at Man United. Anthony Martial sell. This lad has been at Man United and even had a Ballon d'Or clause and sold everyone on his magnificent debut against Liverpool and has been nothing more than a flop. So I'm going to say definitely sell this lad. It's time for that era to end, the Martial era. Anthony, I'm going to say loan. And this is controversial because you can't keep him because he's not Premier League level. You can't sell him because he was, 80 million, all right? 100 million depending on what currency you're going to use, but he was a lot of money. And you're not going to get anything near, not even half of what you spent for him. So the best thing to do is what you did with Sancho, and that is let the lad go to a lesser league and have him have some success to drive up that, that value, right? So you could get a nice little transfer fee when you sell him. But at the moment, Man United isn't in a position where you're gonna be experimenting him and getting 1 or 2 goal contributions a season the way he did this season. Might as well let another club go do that. Meanwhile, you could come and have focus on the players you have that are, producing. Meanwhile, Anthony does not produce. Let another club worry about it, and hopefully he succeeds like Sancho has and will raise up that value of his. But at the moment, his value is dead. You can't sell him and you can't keep him. Loan him out. I don't see no problem with that. Brandon Williams. I understand he's a left back, and I just said about the options with Brandon Williams is not Man United quality. He's a backup at a relegation type of squad. So I'm going to say sell, get rid of him. Whatever club wants to give you any sort of fee, just let him go. He is not a very good player. That's all I got to say on him. Bruno Fernandes, I am going to say sell. And that's going to be, I'm going to get a lot of comments here. You're probably losing your mind. Bruno Fernandes, sell. Bruno Fernandes is hitting his peak, right? He won't get any better than he is now. He's getting older. His value is at all-time high. And Man United is used to buying players at a certain price, at a high price. Anthony, for example, 80 million. And if they sell him, 15 million is what they're going to get at this moment. And Bruno Fernandes is one of the few players they bought for around 45 million. And now he's doubled that in value. In my opinion, there's going to be a club out there like PSG that are willing to spend a lot of money for him. And I say, you know what? Why not? You have other lads at the club that you've just bought in Mason Mount. You have Van der Beek as well. Other options that could play his position. And I just think Bruno Fernandes' time at the club should be over. It's time for him to look for another project, another club. And I think it'd be best for both parties because Bruno Fernandes does get hit with a lot of slack because he does make himself look like a fool at times, and he's the captain of Man United. There's no way you go from Roy Keane to this baby of Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes gets to be away from the starlight a little bit more because one of the most pressured and criticized positions is where Bruno Fernandes is, and that is the captain of Man United. So I believe it's better for him stress-wise and image-wise, and it's better for Man United on moving forward with a younger squad because Bruno Fernandes as well is getting closer to 30 than he is to 25. So come on, lads. Casemiro, he is an automatically sell. Get him out of the club. Out. Saudi Arabia, come in. Boom. First offer, gone, mate. So this lad last season was one of the signings of the summer, and this season he's playing worse than Johnny Evans. So what does that tell me? You got to get rid of him. He's around 31, 32 years old. His legs are gone. This lad used to go from being able to lock up the likes of Messi to getting outclassed by Olise. That's how the mighty have fallen right there. And that is the perfect example for Casemiro. Another one of these is Eriksen. Lad, this isn't Brentford, all right? This is Brentford type of quality players. And Eriksen just played for Brentford. Lad, get him out of here. Send him to any other club. He's getting older. You need better and younger players than Eriksen and Casemiro at this moment. You need to sell these lads ASAP. Now here we have a younger lad. We're going to say loan, The lad isn't going to get much playing time here at Man United. Might as well send him somewhere else. Same thing you've done with Pellistri and other young players, Hannibal. Send him out on loan. So I'm going to say the same thing for Pellistri and Hannibal on loan. I do believe Man United are going to be making a lot of transfers. So you got to get these guys more playing time. And if it's not going to be at the club, just loan them out. That's what I think. But if they're going to get some sort of playing time, and, I think Pellistri is a for sure loan. Hannibal, plays a position that's more in need at the moment at Man United. So if anything, Hannibal would be a keep, but I'm just going to say loan to be safe. Pellistri, you're getting loan no matter what because there's so many wingers options here at Man United. Like, I haven't even got into half of them, and that just shows what's going on at United when it comes to the winger investment and their production at the moment. Van der Beek, who is on loan, I'm going to say keep because I'm saying sell Bruno Fernandes. So you're going to need some sort of option there. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm going to say keep Mason Mount as well because you just transferred him He just transferred at the club. Obviously, it's not going to work with Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. And you're going to sell Bruno Fernandes, and you're going to still need a backup for Mason Mount, who I believe should be the number 10 position instead of Bruno Fernandes this upcoming season. And I think Donny van der Beek could be a great backup. And, you have him under contract and whatnot. I understand you're going to say, oh, Man United invested a certain amount. He's not going to be happy with that role. But I believe if I'm Man United, you could double your profits here with Bruno Fernandes and keep these other two lads who I believe will be serviceable and could provide even better results than Bruno Fernandes has done. Mason Mount has accomplished things that Bruno Fernandes can only dream of, and that is a Champions League. So I'm going to go here with Mason Mount next season. Harry Maguire, your era's done, lad. You need to go. Obviously, you have had a not great hell, but a bad hell when it comes to your time at Man United. It's been nothing but hell, and I believe that it's time to go. You could go to a club mid-table like West Ham, had interest for you. And, Man United, you've served them well this last season. It was one of your better seasons at Manchester. But it's time to go, lad. You're getting older. You're 31, 32. United needs to go and get younger and better center backs. And that will be available. Unlike, this season where you had Varane, Varane, Lisandro Martinez, Lindelof, all hurt. That's why Casemiro and Johnny Evans are playing center back so much. Because literally almost every single center back option was hurt. So, in my opinion, I get rid of all those lads and bring in some reliable young players that could be at United for a very long time. Similar to how, Arsenal, Liverpool do it when they buy their center backs instead of going for Johnny Evans, who's at the end of his career. Come on, lads. Jadon Sancho, I'm gonna say crucial player, lads. You might say that's a hot take right there, but Jadon Sancho, if Ten Hag goes, I could see him wanting to stay. If Borussia Dortmund can't get to that transfer fee of 50 million that they're asking for, I don't believe Dortmund will pay that. But if they change the manager could have a word with Jadon Sancho and say, this isn't Ten Hag. This is new. You're going to be my starting right winger. You showed me that you could take a Dortmund team that hasn't been to the Champions League finals since 2013, who was predicted to lose by experts almost every single knockout stage, to lose. Many thought PSV were going to get through. Dortmund get through. Many thought that Atletico Madrid were going to get through. Dortmund get through. Many thought that PSG were going to get through. Dortmund get through. And who was a fundamental piece there? Jadon Sancho. And if Jadon Sancho could do that at the top level of world football, why isn't he good enough at Man United? We've already spent 70, 80 million for him. Might as well see what he could do, lads. You're going to go and look for a replacement for the lad who did that this season. He didn't play for a very long time, just with the U18s, individual training. And he goes to Dortmund straight away. Boom, man of the match. Straight away, goal and assist. Boom, boom, boom. Lads, give him an opportunity. He's definitely showed sparks in his first seasons when he's given playing time. I believe Sancho could be a fundamental piece at Man United. Sancho, Højlund, and Garnacho, that's the front three. Mason Mount under. Maino. Bring in a different CDM instead of Casemiro. And Man United could actually go and battle for a Champions League spot next season, which is a step forward in the right direction. That's what I believe right there. Johnny Evans, mate, do I even have to say anything? This guy's at the end of his career. Should be playing in, the MLS. The MLS level center backs are better than him, lads. Kobe Mainoo, crucial player. He's a great young talent. Don't overrate him, lads. I saw many people saying that he was better than he was on the level of Foden and Saka because of professionalism, lads. He hasn't even played a full season at United. He had a half a good of a season, There's still much to learn when it comes to Kobe Mainoo. Much experience as well. But he is doing well, in my opinion. I believe if he's given time and he isn't being rushed, he isn't, being cracked down like most Man United players, young players, have been getting absolutely torn apart in the media. If all that does not happen with Kobe Mainoo, he could be, his ceiling is the likes of, Giggs, Scholesy, something like that. But lately, the media at Man United has just torn players like Marcus Rashford, who come from Man United from, the academy all the way through. And then they get torn apart. These lads have the potential and they get ruined by the media. Lisandro Martinez, I'm gonna say crucial. I think he is a solid player. You know, he can play left back, he can play center back. He just had many injuries, but when healthy, he's proven that he can play in the Premier League. As much as I dislike Lisandro Martinez, I think he is Premier League quality and he can play for Man United. And I would rather have him captain than Bruno Fernandes if I'm the manager. He's more of a leader than Bruno. So I think Lisandro Martinez, give him credit, he could be a center back option next season. Luke Shaw, I would just say keep. Because the thing is, when Luke Shaw's available, you don't. He's good enough to be on a Premier League winning squad. But the problem is he gets hurt so much. Ever since he got hurt by Hector Moreno, he has not been the same. But I believe if he's healthy, he could be a great, player. But I think it's very important to keep Fernandes here because he can, when he's called his name up, be solid. And if he shows that he can be better than Luke Shaw and take his position, then you sell Luke Shaw. But at the moment, I would keep him, have Luke Shaw the starter, and have Fernandes the backup. And he could learn a thing or two from Luke Shaw as well. Marcus Rashford, I'm going to sell him. You get 60 million from PSG, bye-bye Rashford. Because it's not just that he doesn't perform on the field. It's that, I believe Marcus Rashford has been healthy. But Man United were already going down. There was no saving Man United. Tried to save himself from the Euros, and rightfully so, Gareth Southgate does not call him up because he hasn't had a good season. Something that I believe Luke Shaw shouldn't have been called up as well. But Marcus Rashford isn't called up, had a terrible season, been spotted many times out in clubs, not concentrated, not disciplined. It's time to get him out of here. You have many other options. I believe the front three, like I said, going forward is Højlund, Garnacho, and Jadon Sancho. While Jadon Sancho and Garnacho have been performing well this season, or this half a season, Marcus Rashford nowhere to be found except for clubs by paparazzi. So I believe if PSG is going to give you above 60 million, take it and run with it and invest them into a really good central defensive player, a good young one to bring at Man United. And I believe you'll be in a better trajectory than keeping Rashford and hoping he could go back to his level. Mason Greenwood's a tough one, and I'm going to say if you get a good enough offer, just sell the lad. But I would be more lenient to keeping Mason Greenwood. Keep in mind, keeping Mason Greenwood than keeping Marcus Rashford. The thing is, Greenwood, and many people say, ruin young talent, this, that, and the other. He hasn't had that good of a season at Getafe. That's what I got to say. And I understand, he had a whole year off. But he hasn't, in my opinion, when I've watched him at Getafe, he plays a couple games. He has some bright spots. But I do believe, you could find a better replacement than Mason Greenwood. But if you were to have to keep Marcus Rashford or Mason Greenwood, I would definitely keep Mason Greenwood over Rashford. I just believe Mason Greenwood he had that problem off the field, but I believe he's a little bit more disciplined when it comes to not going out and not causing too many problems. He just had that one incident, and I understand it was a pretty terrible incident. But if I were to keep one, when it comes to footballistic and, discipline, I understand that one thing is terrible, but I would keep Greenwood over Rashford. But I'm going to say sell, just to be safe here. Forson here, he has had his opportunity. I believe you should just keep the lad here as well. He's had a couple opportunities with all these injuries, and he showed a couple bright spots, and that goes as well with this lad right here. Another guy who's a very quick defender. He's came in multiple times, done a job against Liverpool, and I believe, you should just keep him at Man United. He'll get an opportunity here and there. And I wouldn't loan him out just because his development could be crucial with the new manager, and he could get many opportunities depending on the manager. Of the Serbi who dreams to go to Man United, I believe he could get the best out of these two young lads here. So the perfect thing with the young team is to get a manager who believes in young talent, and the Serbi would be the perfect one. And I believe these two lads would absolutely flourish at United and would be given a lot of experience in game time, which would be the best for United's future. Keep in mind. Rafael Varane has been absolutely brutal to the wage bill at Man United and absolutely brutal for Man United on the pitch. Get him out. First offer from Al Nassr, which you'll probably get him out. Højlund is a player that I believe, that should be staying at United. Hasn't received enough service, but when he does, He scores these scrappy goals off very minimal service. I would look into keeping him for the future. He's a nice little player, and I believe with the right development, he could become a world-class striker. And I don't really like these players. Keep in mind, I'm going to say that. I'm not the biggest fan of Man United, but I will say Rasmus Højlund has impressed me when I've seen him play. And he has the qualities and characteristics of a world-class striker. Because personally, if he's given the right amount of time, right amount of service, right amount of development, he could be on the level of Erling Haaland. If you check the goal ratio from shots, he has a better one than Erling Haaland. So let's just keep that in mind. So he's more clinical than Erling Haaland, all right? So, but he just isn't giving these opportunities. Scott McTominay, I'm going to say keep. Just because he's a decent role player and he's a nice little plan B when you're losing. He's won a lot of games for Man United when you just put him in the box and they're just crossing the ball. And when you're in those situations with 0-0, you're down 1-0, you put in Scott McTominay to go out there and put the head on his ball in the opposing box. He's very, very good at it. And why not? Why not? Right here, we're going to go Amrabat, sell. He's been absolutely garbage this season. Tom Heaton is extremely old and might as well bring in a young lad instead. Victor Lindelof, injury prone, absolute bust from Villarreal. Time to go. Malacia as well. He's been disappeared. And then we've got a nice little young player on loan. Just to cut it short here because Amrabat came in. You know, sold everyone on that Mbappe tackle. Everyone thought he was going to come in and be a great option for Man United to play central defensive midfield like he did for Morocco. And he's been absolutely terrible. Get him out of there. Tom Heaton, he's old. Enough is enough. Time to go. Victor Lindelof, he's always injured. And, you know, when he plays, he's not even that great. So, time to go as well. Malacia, he's been disappeared for the longest. It's time to go as well, lad. I understand people are going to say, oh, he's still young, this, that, and the other. Mate, you have not been available for years. That's worrisome. I would look to sell him back to the Netherlands league. And then you got a young player here who will not touch the field, even if the Serbi comes in, loan him out. Simple as that. Man United are going to need to do a lot of transfers. I saw that a report saying that Man United, aside from what they get from transfers, only have a 35 billion budget. But that is why it has occurred to me to sell the likes of Rashford and Bruno Fernandes and Mason Greenwood, who I believe that right there is a minimum of 100 million or even more. So that would give you enough transfers to be able to rebuild this squad, and they should target younger players that will be at Man United for a longer period of time. No more transfers like Casemiro and Varane, who come from very successful clubs, but at the end of their career, once they're injury prone, it just doesn't work, and you just kill your wage bill. And with these transfers, you're going to significantly reduce your wage bill, which you have to do because you're out of Europe now. So it is a win-win when it comes to financials. Many people are going to just look at the list here and say Bruno Fernandes has been one of the better players, which I do agree. Statistically, he has been phenomenal for Man United. But when it comes to financials, I believe, and his age, it's better to let go Bruno Fernandes a year too early than a year too late. You know, or else you're just going to not even get anything from the 45 million. You know, you didn't get no trophies from him. Might as well get a fee where you get a profit off that business. Marcus Rashford as well. Get rid of him. You have plenty of other options. You know, Mason Greenwood, tons of controversy around it. And, you know, a team like Barcelona could come in and give you at least 30 million. Rafael Varane, you'll get a fee from Saudi Arabia. You know, Casemiro as well. Anthony Martial, maybe too. So right there, that's my thing. You got to keep in mind that Man United needs to get funds to buy some players, and they need to reduce their wage bill. That's why you'll see some big names here to be sold. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. Make sure to leave a comment down below what you think about this. Who did I get wrong? Who did I get right? And make sure to leave another comment saying what team you want me to do next.